Hey guys, it's Mrs. Diaz, and we are on day 3 of our review for our test. I'm going to take a look at now homework 5.3.1, how fast is y changing? So remember, during these notes, we are talking a lot about slope, rise over run, and average rate of change. There's a lot of different terms for slope, and the most famous of them all is the last thing that we talked about before we left for break, which is the derivative. So what I'm going to take a look at first are just some of these example problems. Again, remember we had the odds for homework, so I'm going to look at number 2. For number 2, there we go. I want to take a look and fill out the table for number 2. So at 0, it looks like it's right at the origin, so 0, 0. 0.5, oh man, I don't know, would you guys classify that maybe negative a quarter, 0.25? At 1, back at 0, at 1.5, I would say that's maybe halfway, so 0.5. My point, there it is. At 2, I would say that's at 1, 2.5, oh, like 1 1/3. I want to say 1 1/3, so like 4/3. Or for you decimal people out there, 1.3 repeating. At 3, looks like it's a solid point at 1. 3.5, I would say 0.5. And at 4, back at 0. So first thing you want to do is fill out the table. It doesn't have to be perfect, you guys. Just a good guesstimate. So now we're trying to figure out how fast is y changing at each of the listed values. So you're going to think about slope. So we're thinking about slope. And at 1, we want to take the values on either side of 1. So we got the y values over the x values. So remember, slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to take the 0.5 minus a negative 0.25 divided by 1.5 minus 0.5. So the bottom's just going to be a clean 1. And then 0.5, when you have two negatives, they become a positive. So 0.5 plus 0.25 is 0.75. So the answer here is 0.75. And if you guys will take a look, what this means is here is the value 1. We're looking at it on this interval between 0.5 and 1.5. And look at that curve. You see how it's increasing? Since it's increasing, then we can say it has a positive slope. And that positive slope is 0.75. That's the rate of change. So our rate of change at 1 is, this is an estimate, 0.75. Let's try x equals 2. So remember, we're going to go on either side of 2. So I'm going to do 1.3 repeating minus 0.5 all over 2.5 minus 1.5, which is just 1 again. So 1.3 repeating minus 0.5 is going to be like 0.833 repeating all over 1, which again is just 0.833 repeating. Again, you guys, this is an estimate. It's not exact. But if we look at 2 right here, and we're going between 1.5 and 2.5, you guys see how that, again, is increasing. And to me, it does look a little bit steeper. It's hard to tell, but it's a little bit steeper than the original on letter A, the first little curve. So that slope is a little bit steeper, so it's 0.833. Okay, the last one is 3, x equals 3. We're going to go ahead and go on either side of 3. So I've got 0.5 minus this 1.333 repeating all over 3.5 minus 2.5, which is 1. So this time, instead of positive value, we got a 0.5 minus a 1.33. So that's going to be negative 0.833. Is that right? And I want you guys to take a look at this interval. Notice this looks almost identical to this curve on this other side. They're like symmetrical, so they have the same slope, but notice this one is going down, so it's a negative slope. So that slope is negative. And so that's why this one's going to be negative, because it is going downwards, where the first two were increasing and they had a positive slope. So those are my slopes, or my rate of change. And that's going to answer number 2. I'm going to go ahead and scroll down to the bottom. Let's take a look at some of these questions here. I'll try number 10 and 12 and then jump to one at the bottom here. All right, let me grab my color. Oh, there it is. Okay, so number 10, well, these are, you gotta remember, these are x coordinates. So let's plug in negative 3 in for the x. Negative 3 cubed is negative 27, times 3 is negative 81, minus 1 is negative 82. And then let's plug in 3. 3 cubed is positive 27, times 3 is 81, minus 1 is 80. Remember, we're still doing slope, so y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 80 minus negative 82 over 3 minus negative 3. It's going to give us, then you have 2 negatives make a positive. So 162 divided by 3 plus 3 is 6. 162 divided by 6 is a clean 27. So there's our average rate of change, 27. Okay, let's try number 12. If I plug in negative 1 squared is positive 1 times 6. I'm going to kind of do this on the side. 6 plus 4 over negative 1 cubed is negative 1. So it's 6 minus 4, which is going to be 2. Now let's plug in 3. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 6 is 54. Plus 4 over 3 cubed is 27. It's not really pretty. We're going to have to get a common denominator, so we're going to multiply these by 27. 54. 27 is 1458 over 27 plus 4 over 27. And that is 1462 over 27. I don't think this simplifies. No. So it's 1462 over 27. Ugh, not pretty. But these are my coordinates, so now we're going to do the slope formula. 1462 over 27 minus 2 over 1, and then 3 minus negative 1. I can tell you the bottom is going to be 3 plus 1, which is 4. This here, we're going to have to multiply to get a common denominator. 2 times 27 is 54. So we got 1462 minus 54. It's 1408 over 27. And then remember, this is 4 over 1, so I'm going to multiply by 1/4 by the reciprocal. And I'm going to simplify 1408 divided by 4. That's going to be 352 over 27. And that's as far as we can go on that problem, I believe, because I don't think that's going to simplify anymore. Divided by 3. Nope. That's as far as we can go. Okay, let's keep moving. That one is not a very pretty answer, but let's keep moving. Okay. Again, it wants us to find average rate of change on the given interval. Notice these are going to have some variables, so no need to worry. We're just going to have some variables. I'm gonna actually make some room so I can try just a couple of these. All right, let's try number 16. Oh, geez Louise, no, undo. I don't know why that came out so big. So number 16. Oops. Undo again. Here we go. Number 16. So the first coordinate is 2. So let's plug in 2. 3 times 2, 6 plus 4. 6 plus 4 is 10. That's the first point. The next point is 2 plus h. So we're going to do 3 times 2 plus h plus 4. And so we distribute this 3. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 3h plus 4. And then we're going to get like terms together. 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 3h. So those are my two coordinates. And now we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So for this one, it's going to be 10 plus 3h minus y1, which is 10, all over 2 plus h minus 2. What you should notice is the 10s are going to cancel here. You're left with 3h over, the 2's cancel here over 1h. The h's cancel and we're left with the number 3. So for 16, the rate of change is going to be a solid 3. Okay. I'm going to do probably one more. And let's do 18, just because 18 has that fraction. So for number 18, we have the number 9. So we're going to plug in 9. 1 over 9 plus 4 is 13. So 1/13. And then the other one is 9 plus h. So then we got 1 over 9 plus h plus 4. Well, remember 9 plus 4, 13, and then plus h. So here are my two coordinates. Let's subtract them. 1 over 13 plus h minus 1 over 13, all over 9 plus h minus 9. Well, right off the bat, I can tell you the 9s are going to cancel on the bottom. We need a common denominator, so we're going to multiply 13 plus h on this side, and then 13 on this side. 13 times 1, 13 minus 13 plus h all over 13 times 13 plus h all over what's left on the bottom, which is h over 1. And then the reason I kept this in parentheses is so you can distribute the negative. So we get 13 minus h all over 13 times 13 plus h all over h over 1. These 13s cancel. We're left with negative h on the top. Notice we can multiply by the reciprocal, which is 1 over h. Those cancel. These h's do in fact cancel, but you're left with negative 1 on the top. So negative 1 over 13 times 13 plus h. And that is not pretty, but that's going to be our answer. You could leave it like this, or you could distribute the 13 however you like, but that's where I'm going to stop. So I'm going to stop right there. Keep practicing, you guys. Make sure you're practicing. These are some tough problems, and you probably saw them on the Canvas quiz, so go back and look over those one more time. All right, thanks. See you guys. And I just noticed that you could not see the answer for the last one. I'm going to write it right here, negative 1 over 13 times 13 plus h. Okay, see you guys.